Live here tonight as we get ready to go racing from the beautiful Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jacob Young. How you doing tonight, Jacob?
I'm doing fantastic. Looking forward to this race. And we saw a little glimpse of it last night of what these drivers can do, especially with more downforce. But now these drivers go to a lot less downforce cars, and well, it should be a fun one. 117 laps at Atlanta couldn't be any better.
Yeah, a little bit of a shorter race here tonight, but it should be a pretty exciting race here tonight in the Sim500 FEG Grand National Xfinity Series. What do you expect to see here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway?
I expect to see a lot of great racing, and I think these drivers will get single filed out, and we'll see more battling without, of course, drafting. So that's going to be interesting to see, and as well as will these tires pop after a certain time, or will these drivers be able to get to, well, the stints to the end without having to go into pit lane because of a tire going down?
Well, we've seen drivers have to battle tire failure a little bit earlier in the season. We saw it extensively at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I got a feeling we might just see it here tonight. Atlanta is always a hard track to gauge. Remember, one of the oldest surfaces in NASCAR, so it should be pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly. The oldest surface on a NASCAR schedule means, well, the tire wear is going to be a lot worse than it would be at a different track. Though I've heard that drivers enjoy that a lot, as well as, well, that's kind of what they want. They picked it in real NASCAR during the Phoenix weekend, so it is a much more enjoyable thing to also watch and to just be able to, as a driver, to make sure that, well, you're not burning up your tires too much.
Yeah, and you figure as we're watching these guys hit the grid here tonight, you figure that these drivers, they're going to have to contend with it, and they're going to have to make their best bid at it that they can. I think it's just going to be a great night, all in all.
Exactly. Haven't even really looked at the results, but you look at a person who was really good here last night, and that's Daniel Falkingham, and he's starting on pole with Justin Fuller right beside him. So talk about the first row. That's just, well, a fantastic first row. And Daniel Falkingham, the only driver to break the 31s, basically.
Yeah, that should be pretty exciting to see how it all plays out. You mentioned Falkingham, the only driver to break that top spot, and we'll take a look at the rest of your starting lineup here in just a moment. Let's get a look at it right about now. So here's your starting lineup. Row one, of course, Daniel gonna be Justin Fuller, Tommy Ryan, and that's not right at all. That is definitely not right, but for some reason we're not getting the actual starting lineup. Let's try that one more time. Come on now. Okay, for some reason we're not seeing the starting lineup, so that's gonna be a small issue. But, you know, Daniel Falkingham looks like he has the pole. And we saw how well he ran last night in Atlanta. I got a feeling he's gonna run just as well here tonight. What do you think?
Same here. He really knew how to save the tires and just really put his game plan into effect, and it worked out a treat. Now, of course, like we talked about, these cars are a lot different, but there's still plenty of grip on this racetrack, especially when they run multiple laps on here. You'll start to see it get darker because of how old the surface is. It's not concrete, but you'll just be able to see it get darker, and so with that, you'll be able to see that bottom lane is going to be the fastest at the start of the race at least.
Yeah, without a doubt, bottom lane will be the quick lane around this racetrack, at least in the early going. Coming off of turn number 4 right now, as we get ready to take the green flag for the FEG Grand National Series here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Round 5 is underway. Great start by Daniel Falkingham. Justin Fuller on his outside.
They talk about a great start from Daniel Falkingham, but also from that top line as well as that bottom line, just going 2 by 2 all the way up until at least 5th place. Talk about some battling going on, and look who's taking the lead, Justin Fuller in the early going.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's actually really surprising there. That outside line with Justin Fuller actually might have gotten away a lot better than Daniel Falkingham. You watch that, and they got away quicker. You see Justin Fuller has the race lead right now, and he's trying to pull away. And it's a question of, do you think he's going to be able to make that breakaway? I think he has a good shot at it. He's already got about a car length, if not a car length and a half.
Yeah, it decides what it depends on what he decides to do in the early going. We talked about it yesterday. Tire management is going to be key if you want to push for about the first 4 laps, and especially if you're a leader in clean air, basically get close to a second of a lead, or do you want to kind of hang back, and even though you're starting in 2nd place, hang back in 10th place? So it looks like when you have cleaner air, especially here with these race cars, it's a better opportunity for you to just try and push at the start to gain a little bit of a gap, and then you can manage your race from there.
Yeah, you see Josh Bonwell, who started up front here tonight. Looks like he's trying to have a good run of things. And unfortunately, it looks like we're having some issues as it goes on the Facebook side of things, although we're cleaning green on YouTube, so unfortunately, we might not have a Facebook stream tonight. We'll try and get that squared away for you, but if push comes to shove, we'll keep it up on YouTube for you folks. But Justin Fuller leading the show. I gotta say, I'm pretty surprised there by Fuller. He has a great run. Again, we're only 5 laps into this race, but still, great to see the speed out of Justin Fuller. Look at, though, Josh Bonwell. He had such a bad luck at the end of the race last night. So it's great to see Bonwell doing good right now, you know?
Exactly. Josh Bonwell has always impressed me with his starting speed, basically, as in he has been able to push and keep it off the wall and do everything correct. It's that final third part of the race that he has struggled with completely. But of course, especially in this series, it seems like he's got a little better luck than he does in the Cup Series. So that's always fantastic to see.
Yeah, that is for sure. And, you know, when we talk about Bonwell, the problem that he has, he seems to have pretty good luck in the beginning of these races, but by the end of the race, he's having issues, and that's the problem for Josh Bonwell. I hate to say that, you know?
Yeah, exactly, but look at this real quick. Tommy Ryan gets into 2nd place, and Josh Bonwell is already trying to fight the 39 of Daniel Falkingham. So Falkingham, by the end of maybe this lap, could go to 4th place.
Well, you mentioned Tommy Ryan up to 2nd place there. You only got to take a look back last night, and you look at Atlanta last night here. Tommy Ryan, well, he finished 6th. So, I mean, he does good at this racetrack. Granted, that was in the Cup car, but fact of the matter is he's good at Atlanta. Same with Daniel Falkingham. So it'll be interesting to see if that kind of carries over into this race car.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like it has helped a couple of these drivers. Yes, Daniel Falkingham sits in 3rd place, but he's ran this racetrack. He knows how much to push, especially throughout these long runs. As we did see last night, we went green for close to 40 laps on that first stop. No one had pitted just yet, and we were getting ready for green flag pit stops, and then the first caution flag hits. So that's the type of racing that I kind of expect to see from tonight, and it looks like that's going to happen with how much these cars are single filing out.
Yeah, and a significantly shorter race here tonight, shorter by nearly, shorter by actually a grand total of 13 laps. So doesn't seem like it'll make that much of a difference, but I can guarantee you to these drivers that 13 laps is going to make a world of a difference in pit strategy, in tire strategy. Pretty much how they conduct their whole race is going to focus around that extra 13 laps that they're losing. So it's going to be a big difference for these guys here tonight.
Yeah, exactly. A huge difference indeed. Those 13 laps. You're talking about, well, you'll have to save fuel and tires for a lot longer if, of course, the strategy plays out to your favor. And now we don't have to worry about that, especially if you're a driver. So you take that into consideration. We'll probably see them, if it does go green, for a lot longer. We'll probably see them go down pit lane at least twice. Of course, any other cautions, they'll go down pit lane no matter what to get some more.
We got cars slow on the apron. It is Steven Ritter and the 7. And it looks like an issue has evolved there. That is the 7 car of Mike Mancetti. What happened there? Looks like Steven Ritter might have gotten loose going through the corner. Or he might have had help getting loose. And Jason Lance got a piece of it. Mancetti as well. So that's what happened there for Steve Ritter. And that puts him all the way back now in 43rd position. He started 11th place here tonight, Jacob. If you can put that into perspective.
He had a great start, but of course, early in this race, you want to push as hard as possible. And if you have that short run speed, well, then of course you're going to try to use it up. So very bad luck for him to get loose into the corner is what most likely happened. And
well, he had a little bit of contact with someone. A little bit of contact with one of the other drivers there. Just hard racing, you know.
Yeah, he'll just have to come back from adversity, hope for an early caution as well, and get back on his feet from then on. We did see a couple of drivers yesterday also. Sorry about that, Matt, but we did see a couple of drivers get into an early incident in the race, but were able to finish up top 10, so don't count those drivers out.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you notice here, you watch Josh Parker slowly climbing his way up through the field. Let's talk about Josh Parker here. He is 14th in the point standings. He's got an average finish of 21st. Well, right now, looks like he's smashing that average finish statistic as he currently runs 5th. His worst finish this season was 39th. It came at Daytona. And 31st at Auto Club. Last week at Phoenix, he finished 10th, though. So he's looking to go on an improvement. And at Las Vegas, he finished 4th. So he's looking to run around where his best finish of the season was. Do you think he bests 4th place here tonight?
It's very possible. You're looking at Josh Parker already up in that position in 5th place. So he is most likely out of where a caution would fall, which would be most likely near midfield where they're really battling it out. And in 5th place up front, like the top 5 basically are just trying to stay out of trouble and run their own race for basically pit strategies in the end. So he definitely has a huge opportunity to best his finish.
Yeah, without a doubt, and caution flag is flying. Looks like it might have been David Comstock. And it was. Now, David Comstock has not had much luck outside of Daytona Super Speedway. What happened here? Oh, looks like the 01 already had issue. Comstock, collateral damage in it. Man, you want to talk about an unfortunate situation? Looks like Don Runkle Jr. getting through it there. Glenn Campbell got a piece of it. And Bob Gilwater. Watch what happens to Bob here. That number 4 machine, you can see here. He got tagged directly by that 01. Almost goes on his lid. And it might have been better if the 4 did go upside down. Based on how that car crashed. You watch that spin one more time. You see the 01 tags a wall. Gilwater goes low and just can't avoid it. And man, just you see how the roof flaps do the job they're intended. Kept him on the ground. But, again, might have been better had he gone airborne. Dwight Beverly, driver of that 01 machine, set that incident off. Well, Jacob, as a driver, what do? Pit, stay out, 18 laps in, about 100 laps to go.
You pit, definitely. You will get 4 fresh Goodyear tires, maybe not necessarily take too much fuel if you want the car to turn, because right now I bet you the cars are starting to get tighter as well. So for sure, take tires, take some Sunoco fuel to make it maybe to another stint or maybe to another caution.
And so it should be pretty exciting to see how it all plays out. Who comes out of pit lane first? Well, it will be Josh Parker. Justin Fuller came out second. Tommy Ryan third. Daniel Falkingham fourth. Now, Daniel here, when, if at all, do you think he gets to the race lead?
Probably he'll try and start his charge closer to the end of this race. Yes, there are 19 laps into this race now, so less than 100 to go. And it's still plenty of racing, plenty of time to save your tires, save some fuel, and to make sure to basically just stay with the front pack. And that's what he's been able to do. So he'll most likely make his charge, I'd say, around 20 laps to go.
So right now, caution flag flying. Let's say Jose Gonzalez, you're 9th place right now. What do you do on this restart? Do you hold back? Do you push hard? If you ask me, I'd say hold back a little bit and just let it ride, because you got a lot of racing left and you don't want to burn up your stuff too early, especially if this turns into a long green flag run. Like you touched on, we had about a 40-lap green flag run last night, and you don't want to burn up your stuff early. These Xfinity cars, low downforce, are very susceptible to that.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want to burn up your stuff too early. If you're Jose Gonzalez, you can stay back in the top 10 for sure and be okay. If anybody really wants to pass you, you can let them pass you. Just make sure that, well, of course, when it's time, you have to start to push. You'll be able to, because I've seen drivers that they're able to do that very successfully, and we'll most likely see that tonight. And hopefully Jose Gonzalez does exactly that, because, yeah, like you touched on and like we've touched on, tire wear is so important.
Well, 20 laps in, I'll let you get the green. They're rolling around here. We're going to ride on board Trey Edison on that outside lane, see his perspective of this restart.
All right, sounds great. Justin Fuller lead them to the green flag back in the air here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a great restart from Justin Fuller once again.
Trey Edison got a pretty good start. He's trying to get by Tommy Ryan right now. And he does get by Tommy Ryan. You can see Tommy Ryan falls in line 4th place now. He was 3rd at that restart. And so pretty great restart there for Trey Edison. Ryan Howard a little bit ways back, and you can see, looks like they were 3 wide for a moment. Randy Yoka might have gone up the middle, but he thought better of it. Or I'm sorry, the one car, I believe that's Danny Rogers, who might have thought better of going up the middle. What's your thoughts on that there? A little too early for 3 wide racing, as we got it happening in the back. I think, was that Adam Gilliland stuck in the middle? No, that is Gregory Bradenberg.
Yeah, just a little too early for 3 wide racing, but what happens sometimes too is you just get that run.
Talk about
too
early.
In the back.
Easier to count the drivers not involved. I see Steven Ritter, Glenn Campbell, Mike Mancetti's involved. I think, was that the 17? Is that Chad Cole? Yep, Chad Cole's in it. Steve Herring. I think Jason Lance might have even gotten a piece of that. We'll watch that from the TV3 camera, and you can see as it unfolds. Yeah, if you were in the back of the field, you pretty much had a good chance of getting caught up in that. Very few drivers back there didn't. And you see Chad Cole facing the wrong way down a one-way street. That pink number 17 car. Mark Cretin, I think, may have got through it in that 77 machine. He might have been far enough away. Yeah, he was. He slowed up in enough time, so Mark Cretin gets through with with no damage. You can see he goes high through it all. But yeah, you want to talk about craziness unfolding? There you go. Second caution of the night here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Everyone who's anyone, for the most part, down pit lane. As a driver, would you have pitted here?
I think so. Any chance that you get, you just for sure have to pit. It's just a smart thing to get 4 fresh tires and be on, of course, a different strategy as everybody else, because guess what? You'll have fresher tires, so you might be able to push just a little bit harder than everybody else because of how old their tires are. And yes, it would be about a lap better, but it's a smart thing to do.
And you can see drivers rolling off the pit lane. Well, any driver in particular you want to talk to here, Jacob?
I think we should maybe talk to Jose Gonzalez up in 4th position, doing a solid job early in this stage.
That is a great pick right there. We'll pull him up in here if we can find him. And there he is. And take it away, Jacob Young.
So, Jose Gonzalez, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Dick?
Well, you're sitting in 4th position, at least from what iRacing is saying. How's the car handling for you in the early going?
Yeah, it's handling good. I started about 15th position, and I made about 5 or 6 passes, which is not very. It's not very easy with this setup and this track. You gotta choose your battles and save your tires because the tire wear is really bad. So, I just stayed out because track position is really important today. So hopefully this works out.
All right, so I'm guessing your strategy, of course, staying out here and hitting on the next caution if possible.
Yeah, we just went a few laps, so tires hopefully are not that bad right now. And if I save a little bit, I think we can stay up here.
All right, thank you for talking to us. Any shout out you want to give?
Yeah, just you guys for doing this every Sunday. We really appreciate it, and we enjoy watching the broadcast every week.
All right. Thank you for talking to us. Hopefully we'll talk to you once again, maybe in Victory Lane.
All right, man. I'm up for that.
And that was Jose Gonzalez, driver the number 26 machine. He's having a pretty good run tonight. And you watch that Oreos car roll by in 4th place. Well, quite a few drivers stayed out, about the top 6. You think that was a good idea or no?
Well, Gonzalez said it best as well. He stayed out because they only won a couple of laps on those tires,
like
so
we
it
have a
shouldn't
crash.
be too bad.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but it looks like we've had an incident down the back stretch. I don't know what happened, but we got drivers stopped. If they came to a stop of their own accord, looks like maybe they were waiting for drivers to pass them. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but a little bit confusing situation.
All good.
Well, once again, I'll let you call the green here as we roll off.
All right, sounds great. Pace car just getting into pit lane here. And Trey Edson steps on the loud pedal. We're back racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And you can see they're going to probably try and take it a little bit more easily. Of course, I say that. It looks like Justin Fuller is right behind a 3-wide situation. Danny Rogers got put up the middle. So much for taking it easy on the first restart lap. They are going all out as quickly as they can.
Yeah, exactly. Some drivers feel like they have fresher tires and so, of course, want to push just a little bit more. Sometimes it's a smart decision, but, of course, we all know cautions breed cautions. So sometimes when that happens, drivers do like to get a little bit more aggressive. But look at that gap that Eaton has been able to kind of gain from just battling behind him.
Yeah, you can see side by side here for what is this third place here with Ryan Howard and Jose Gonzalez. Howard down on the bottom. Looks like the bottom lane is the fast line to be in right now. Though as we saw last night, Jacob, that can change towards the end of the race, and I expect it to.
Yeah, exactly. I would expect it to do exactly the same thing, where it does change and that outside line becomes a big factor. Of course, drivers will have to run on it just a little bit throughout a couple of their runs, because with all that marble going up close to the wall, it's very difficult to gain that traction if you're running that outside line.
And you can see side by side Tommy Ryan. Now Tommy Ryan, one of the drivers that did not pit, and you can see the way he's falling back. That might also be due in part to the way he's blinking, which is not a good situation for him to be in either, having that blinking connection issue.
Exactly. Never something that you as a driver want to see either in front of you or just want to see relative screen go blink for a bit and your only name on there. So it's just a very scary feeling, and you have to drop back most likely and just wait it out if it gets better.
Yeah, without a doubt. So Ryan just running the high line, either letting him by or getting past. Either way, falling back. Richard Beasley, we know he's got fans watching, and you look at him back there, 15th place, that Tide machine. What do you think he's going to do here tonight with that car?
Well, he's in 15th position, kind of not really midfield, since we have a full field of 43 drivers, or did have a full field of 43 drivers, but he's sitting in a perfect position. He's on that outside line trying to gain a couple of spots, but we all know still plenty of racing to go.
Yeah, and the lowest he's been tonight has been 25th position. So he's been doing really well here with that car, just keeping it running the way he needs and you know, where he wants it to be. I think
exactly.
He's in a pretty good spot. Just got to keep running where he is. I feel like right now you don't want to have to, again, like I said, you don't want to push too hard, but you don't want to fall too far back. You want to just keep it straight and up the middle.
Exactly. Just watching him, he's really liking that outside-inside line. Just trying to race that as see one driver trying to pass him. He's not really going to try and give up a fight. I believe that's the 30 car of Brian Macklin. So they'll be side by side heading into 3 and 4.
Yeah, that it is. Brian Macklin coming up. And you see Macklin looks to the inside, but he looks a little bit hesitant to get involved in that battle right now. To which you can't really blame him. And we got a crash. It's Brian Macklin and Richard Beasley. How about that?
Just absolutely.
Looks like they just made contact down the backstretch. Just go figures. As I said, it looks like he was hesitant to get involved. Looks like he just tags Richard's quarter panel here. Sends him for a little bit of a spin. Of course, both of them don't tag the wall. They didn't stay hooked up for long, but long enough to send them both back to the back of the field.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was one of those situations, and watching the replay once again, where, yeah, I think what happened, it looks like he got loose and kind of came down on Macklin, and Macklin didn't expect it. And of course, iRacing, sometimes you don't need to touch the driver completely the driver's car completely in order to wreck it, and I believe that's exactly what happened. So just hard racing in the early going, still, it's early enough to where they can come back from this.
That is for sure. Excuse me, folks. As Trey Edison, he is the race leader, but you take a look at this race lead. What can you tell me about it, Jacob? I see these drivers all under a blanket.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that I didn't expect to see too much, is that every driver is not even a second behind each other. I really expected a little bit more of a distance just due to the fact of everybody running their own race and how these cars kind of handle here.
Yeah, right now you can see here, look at Justin Fuller. He's been working his way up with Adam Gilliland in tow. And again, Justin Fuller, one of those drivers that did pit. The top three have not. Now, the interesting thing, aside from fuel, they're kind of running the same game right now because the tire wear off on those pitted drivers is probably just evened out right about now to the guys that haven't pitted. So the only difference is going to be fuel load.
Yeah, really going to be fuel load and how much each driver has saved. Yeah, that is really that main difference as well. Because yes, you do want to push when you have fresher tires, but as we all know, who really has that strategy won for this early going.
And you can see Jose Gonzalez holding on to second place and doing a great job. Doing a great job holding on to that, but I got a feeling Justin Fuller might be able to make a pass here. Fuller looks to the inside through 1 and 2. And there you go. Justin Fuller gets the go. So Justin Fuller trying to pull away now and get to the race lead. Do you think he gets by Trey Edison?
Possibility that he does, but I think as well he'll just decide to stay behind him. You don't want to push too much, especially, guess what, he has an opportunity to save fuel now and just kind of save tires, being that second place driver and just making his move when he needs to, because right now there's no need to try and push for first place because you're just going to wear out your tires a lot more.
Well, yeah, the only need to push for first place is to go for the glory, but you know, racing, it's all about glory, and I would imagine Justin Fuller isn't content with just having second place, and no, he is not. He looks to the inside of Trey Edson. Goes for the spot. There it is. New leader, Justin Fuller. Justin Fuller has led already 23 laps tonight, looking to add to that list. So I can't say I'm too surprised by that. I mean, Fuller's just got a fast race car. Caution flags in the air as soon as he takes the lead. Josh Parker has lost the front end of his race car. Looks like the 00, Don Runkle in the wall. Parker tried to avoid him, and that just wasn't happening for Josh Parker. And that Hardy's machine of Doug Sigmund got a piece of it as well. So we'll be right back. Justin Fuller, your race leader. Back live, Jacob Young getting us with the green flag. Only 71 laps of action remaining. So this race starting to wind down. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. It's starting to wind down for sure. Only 71 laps remaining. And, well, you're talking about probably one more pit stop, maybe two more pit stops, because you can kind of take that into these drivers can last on a set of tires close to 40 laps. So it could be maybe a two-stop or even one more stop after this. So it should be very interesting as the pace car motes away from going down pit lane. And there it goes, as we are back racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, good restart for these drivers. Justin Fuller, Adam Gilliland out and away. And you know Fuller, he's been good when he's been in the lead here tonight, so I think now that he's got it back, it's going to be hard to stop him.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to stop Justin Fuller. He has looked really good, but look who is in second place, or close to second place, actually. Yes, Trey Edison. But then you have the 81 of Adam Gilliland. Gilliland has been fantastic this season as well. He has started to really come into effect. He won at Las Vegas, so he is really getting a mile and a halfers as he's shown. So just the top three drivers right here, there's a chance that the leads could change a couple more times.
Yeah, that is for sure. And again, they remain under that blanket. We still have a lot of racing left here tonight, so a lot of things can happen. They're side by side for second place. They were for a moment. Look at Ryan Howard, though. Jose Gonzalez. Those two drivers have been battling it out like crazy recently. And it has been just absolutely amazing racing to watch here tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Just absolutely exceptional racing. Once again, you're talking about just, well, the actual series being on hiatus with, of course, the virus. And this is exactly what you would expect from the top drivers, even in the sim racing world. So absolutely fantastic. I am loving every second of this.
Yeah, you can see again they are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 under a blanket. Nobody giving an inch. That's, as you said, the most exciting part of this so far. You watch these drivers, they come off turn number 4 now. Justin Fuller, though, still holding on to the race lead. I got a feeling no one's really going to be able to challenge him, at least for a while. I think Fuller's got the car to beat at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment, he does have the car to beat. He's had the correct strategy call. Remember, a couple of these drivers as well are on different strategies, like Jose Gonzalez. His caution flag does fly.
Yep, that is the yellow flag out in the air. It is, I think, the 603 Clint Cox. Might have gotten involved in that one, and actually, no, he got through it. It was the 47, Brian Day. Brian Day, Tommy Ryan. And the 12 of Scott Simley. So among the drivers not having a good day, you can add their names to the list. I mean, crazy turn of events here. What do you think for the pit strategy now?
Everybody kind of has to go down pit lane. Had a long enough green flag run where drivers were kind of pushing their race cars, and so it's smart to hit, as looks like all the leaders are at least doing that.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see. Again, a lot of drivers, as you mentioned, hit the pits. Looks like the 77, Mark Cretan, he elects to stay out. And you think that's going to be a good strategy or what?
I don't think so. Electing to stay out, though, of course, he could have pitted on that last caution. It feels like his tires aren't that bad, but the majority of the drivers decided to go in and pit. So he could go all the way from the lead to 15th position. Just really don't know with how the fresh tires compare to the old tires.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. And you see Adam Gilliland, he'll be third, first driver to pit, or second driver. Justin Fuller will be second. If Mark Cretan stays out, I hate to say it, but I think he's going to be a sitting duck. What about you?
Most definitely will be a sitting duck if he does stay out. It's just, I mean, it's a simple thing. Everybody else has fresh tires, and, well, you don't. And so, of course, that's going to be a big difference. We saw it on other tracks, just like Auto Club Speedway, and if I'm not mistaken, Las Vegas. When the drivers decided to stay out, they lost a ton of ground.
Looks like Mark elected to pit there. Smart move by him, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think staying out there would have been his best bet with everyone that's pitted behind him. He would have got completely run over. Which is, you know, last thing he needed to have happen to him tonight.
Exactly. Just bad lucks. Like I've said before, sometimes it's your week, sometimes it's not. It's just the way that racing goes, sadly. But of course, a couple of drivers that I also want to mention, like Gregory Brandenburg, the drivers who are one lap down, they still have plenty of racing. Of course, it is running out, but they have plenty of racing to get back on the lead lap and have an opportunity to maybe get a top 15 to top 10.
So, right here, who would you pick to win this race so far?
I think I would have to go with Trey. He's been up there. He's had an opportunity, and he's led a couple of laps as well. He's led a good amount of laps. He's looked strong. Yes, of course, Fuller has been the better race car, I think, or the racer in the long run, or has had the better car, however you really want to put it. But I think with Trey being up front, he'll have an opportunity to really seal the deal.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good guess there. And you can see Adam Gilliland, he'll have the bottom lane here, and that's interesting to see that, you know, Fuller chose the outside. I don't think that's the best decision to make. I thought the bottom would probably have been the better line to be in.
Well, you say that, and also we've seen a couple of other drivers on that outside line get a better launch, too. So that could be a strategy where it's just better to really get that launch and then go to the inside.
Yeah, that is true. Here's the green flag. And you see Justin Fuller out and away.
Exactly did what he needed to do, which was go on that outside line for that restart, and he's still in first place. A perfect restart for him, but look at Adam Gilliland right behind, of course, or right in front is what I meant to say, of Trey. So it'll be interesting to see that battle if it does come into play.
Yeah, Trey's been very fast here tonight. We haven't really spoken about Gilliland. He hasn't, I mean, he's been there, but he hasn't been up front is what I mean to say. And you look, he's currently in second, and unfortunately that's all iRacing wants to tell us about him. But I think he's probably hung around the top 10 here tonight. I don't really think he's fallen any lower than about 10th. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you'd be correct. He really isn't. He's had a fantastic car so far in this race, as long as he stays out of trouble, which you never know what will happen closer to the end of these races. Everybody's just saying, no more Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm going to go out for, well, I'm going to go for broke, basically. So as long as he stays out of trouble, he won't fall further than back from the top 10.
Yeah, right now, your current leader, Justin Fuller, trying to pull away, but Gilliland, I tell you what, he's keeping him right where he wants him. Gilliland's there by about 1/10 of a second, if not less than that at some portions of this racetrack.
Yeah, exactly. Very impressive. Once again, it looks like Adam Gilliland's even going to close up the gap even more, as .111 might not be the case when we go back to the start-finish straight, as we're in turns 3 and 4 now.
Yeah, you can see, look a little further back, you see Doy Woods. Looks like he's having a good night. We haven't spoken much about that '07 UPS machine. What can Brown do for you? Well, apparently, for him, it can keep him inside the top 10. He's having a great run, looking at a top 5 potentially.
Exactly. And I've kind of noticed this. The Ford Mustangs, of course, this is the way that iRacing does it, is they kind of mimic the real life. And before, of course, the season was stopped, we really did see that Ford from the start in the Xfinity Series was very powerful, and they were winning races. They won, if I'm not mistaken, Las Vegas, and Noah Gregson is in a Chevy, so Chevy won the Daytona 500, but my point being, they've been looking pretty powerful throughout this season, too.
Yeah, that is for sure, and right now it looks like Team Toyota, though, taking the front 3. They got a clean sweep of that podium. That Toyota Supra, as Adam Gilliland now goes for the race lead. He's not led a lap yet tonight. This will be his first lap led if he makes it all the way around.
Exactly, very impressive. It does look like Gilliland could lead for this lap. Just was able to take that lead away from Fuller, and as we all know, well, it's very difficult to beat this driver who has had experience in the pro level.
So
what I mean by the pro level is the pro iRacing level.
Yeah, he ran in the Pro Series for a few years, doing a great job here as well, but that is not to discredit the skill of these other drivers. I mean, don't forget, Justin Fuller has led more laps tonight than Gilliland has. By a pretty significant margin, too.
Exactly. He's looked... Yeah, Justin Fuller has looked fantastic. He's almost looked like the car to beat before we've really seen Adam Gilliland and what he can do in clean air. As well as, of course, Trey Eatson. Basically, this whole field almost can really compete with this driver, and it has been impressive to watch. Real quick, also look at Josh Bonwell up to 8th position, though. He's doing a good job with Ryan Howard at 7th.
Yeah, we'll take a look there. We have not talked too much about Josh Bonwell tonight. And remember, though, the problem with Josh Bonwell, what we have seen this season, he'll have a good run, and he'll have a great run up until about the final 15 laps of the race. And then something goes catastrophically wrong. The lowest he's been tonight is 18th. He's not falling outside the top 20. He is doing great right now. But the only problem for him, and I'm sure he's dreading it as much as probably his fans watching, there's still 52 laps left in this race. That is a long way to go for a driver that statistically has his problems pop up at the end of the races.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to be interesting to see if he can break that curse. We've seen it been broken time and time again with other drivers in different series, but that's always fantastic to watch when a driver is able to break that kind of racing curse, if you want to call it, and not only finish the race, but even finish it in the top 5.
And you can see 68 laps into the race, and Brian Macklin, now there's a driver we missed last night, but he had a good run in the Cup car a few nights ago, winning a race at Phoenix, looking to do a win here tonight. You think he's got what it takes?
Very possible that he has what it takes indeed. Going to be a tough challenge, but, well, you're always up for it. As Bonwell hit the wall hard there, I noticed, so he's going to be slow for a couple of laps.
Let's see, side by side, Josh Bonwell falling back now. It looks like Richard Beasley gonna get that spot. That is 10th place. Good news for Josh Bonwell, there's not really any damage on that race car. He looks like he'll be okay to continue on, you know, just has to regroup it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's most likely all that he's really doing is now just making sure that he can regroup and be okay from then on.
But the problem there is just going to be, does this continue for Josh Bonwell? Again, like we said, he's had that issue. Problems start appearing at the end of the race. We saw it last night. It started with the last pit stop. And we're probably closing in on that last pit stop again. So he's probably, I mean, if he's got a lucky charm of any sorts, he's probably doing whatever he needs to do with it to make sure he does good here.
Yeah, exactly. Just hoping that he get everything going right for him, which is entering pit lane safely and under the speed limit too, which is going to be key. Getting in his pit box, just everything going right basically. A 13-second pit stop will be key for him as he's just going to continue on out there. I'm talking about pit stops as well. I probably would expect them to go in maybe 10 or even 20 more laps. What I mean by that is really just getting closer to the 100-lap marker.
And right now, Adam Gilliland trying to pull away to the tune of about half a second. Look at Daniel Falkingham. He has not led much tonight. I don't think he's actually led at all for that matter. Do you think he can sweep and win here tonight?
Strategy. I think that's really his answer there. Is gonna have to play the strategy perfectly, maybe be closer to the first leader on pit lane. We've seen that work to a treat, especially at these mile-and-a-half racetracks where you go down pit lane early and you basically just play that strategy game correct and pass the leader in pit lane. I think that's really all that he can do if he doesn't feel like he has the pace.
Looks like that 10 machine, that is, who is in that 10 car, actually? That is Jeff Ryan, who looks like he's had a problem here tonight. And he's 11 laps down, so he's had a little bit more than just a problem. But unfortunately, looks like the problems continue to mount, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the problems will continue to fall for him, which is always not what we want to see, but sometimes it just gets in your head. Feel like you can finish this race, you're in a fantastic position, and then all of a sudden just it goes to your head and either you force a mistake or you're pushing too hard or something like that happens. Just always gets to you. Bubba Wallace talked about that as well when he had an opportunity or was close to winning, that he just got nervous and just always falls like that.
Well, Tommy Ryan, let's talk about him for a minute. Tommy Ryan won on, I think, what was it, Thursday night. The other Xfinity Series raced here at Atlanta for Sim500. Do you think Tommy Ryan has a shot at doing that again?
Definitely does. Play the strategy card correct, maybe save more of his tires, maybe save some fuel, because he is in 11th position. He did start
Friday,
really well.
Yeah, that was on Friday night, my bad. But yeah, Tommy Ryan won that, so you got a feeling that maybe you go back-to-back for Xfinity Atlanta wins?
It's a possibility, but he would really have to start to get back up there in the front and play that strategy card correctly because of how good Gilliland has been tonight. He's almost got a second lead over Fuller, so maybe Fuller's saving something, but in that long run, you have to beat that driver, Adam Gilliland. But Justin Fuller has led a lot of laps too, so also just trying to beat that top three will be very difficult.
It'll be the multi-million-dollar question he'll be asking himself until the end of the race, if he can. What about, you take a driver, let's say, I don't know, let's say E.J. O'Rourke. We had him pegged to maybe win the race last night. He's got a little bit of damage now, but do you think maybe there's a chance there?
There is a good chance that O'Rourke comes back and wins this race too, but I think for him, he sits in 13th position. A top 5, in my opinion, would be perfect. Would be a perfect place for him to finish.
Yeah, that is for sure. Almost 80 laps into this race. We have 38 to go at the stripe, and we haven't had a caution in quite a while. Do you think we see another one anytime soon? I hate to bring that up, but we've had 4 cautions, only for 14 laps, though.
I think we see another caution, yes. It just, once again, it gets closer and closer to the end of this race. Drivers are just going to be fighting as hard as can be for every position, because every position, especially with this point system, matters so much that, well, they're just going to be fighting so hard. Racing might cause a late caution, and it is very possible that that could be the case tonight.
Well, we saw last night, we actually saw a few late cautions. We actually almost saw a green white checker finish. Do you think we see one of those tonight? I'm going to go with no. I don't think we see a green white checker play out. I don't think we're quite at that point.
Yeah, I think it'll be close to a green white checkered, but it will have about 4 laps to go when it hits green, so technically not a green white checkered, but it will be very close to it. Something around that short of a distance, though.
And right now you can see, what was that? Daniel Falkingham was looking for a pass on position. He was trying for second place. I thought he'd been potentially had a pretty good run going there, and it looked like it all just stalled out on him. I don't know what happened. But you saw there, looks like might have just got loose perhaps, but he was doing really well for a moment. At the very least, you see he's still all over the back end of Justin Fuller, and you see he looks to the outside, tries to run maybe 1 lane up, get a little bit of an advantage, and watch off for turn number 2. He does, but Fuller is going to close the door right up on him. That's going to make it hard for Daniel Falkingham to really make anything happen, at least yet.
Exactly, Fuller able to keep second place basically from the 39 car of Falkingham, but now you're starting to see Falkingham really get into the zone because of how many laps are left, and that's perfect. He talked about it yesterday, how much tires he was able to save throughout a run, and so it helped. Yes, he was in clean air, but it really has helped him because I think he's got some more to give than the 51 does just because of how late this run has been.
And right now, 85 laps into the race, it is Adam Gilliland still holding on to the lead. He's held on to it for 22 laps tonight. Let's talk about our points leader, though. That is, again, Daniel Falkingham. He's running well. He's running 3rd. Average finish is 7th in this series. Though, the last 2 weeks, Auto Club in Phoenix, he finished 2nd. Where do you think he finishes tonight?
Well, for him, hopefully he will finish in victory lane. But it's a possibility that he would finish in 2nd again, just due to the fact of how close this competition has been. And it's just very difficult for him to try and get up to maybe Adam Gilliland. This, talk about it once again, time and time again, this top 5, this top 10 is really, if you make a mistake, they're going to capitalize big time.
Yeah, that's going to be the question there is, do you think he breaks that cycle of second place finishes, or do you think he goes for 3? My bet's going to be he goes for 3. I don't think anyone's going to be able to beat Gilliland. I think Gilliland's got something figured out that these guys might not yet.
Exactly. And, I mean, my guess, if I had to guess for something, is either he's also running a little less fuel than everybody else in the tank, which is key to make the car turn better. And of course, not to mention that he's probably out in clean air and being able to save just a little bit with still making a gap kind of larger and larger. If I say that, it kind of just shrunk right there, but you get my point. He's got a big of a gap to kind of do that.
Yeah, that is for sure. And let's talk about Mark Creighton for a moment. That 77 car, you know, he is having a great run here tonight. Currently runs 12th. And you see in the Cup Series, he finishes about 20th and stuff. But here tonight, he is just having a great run. Here, he's 34th in the point standings. His best finish this season was a 24th place finish at Daytona. So he is well past that 24th place finish. This is the best run he's had all season.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what position he started, too?
I'm going to go dead last. Well,
exactly. It's showing how much he has been able to basically gain. Now, it's interesting. He's running the top group basically like the berm of this racetrack. He will lose maybe a couple of positions, but really doing a fantastic job of just basically running his own races. He is going to be one of the first cars in pit lane.
I was about to say, you want to know the crazy thing there? As far as running the top, and oh dear, tags the wall, so that's going to slow him down on pit lane.
Tagged the wall, missed his pit box, but it's the first one.
The crazy thing, talking about running the top lane, or starting last rather, he started last in every single race he's done this season. I think that's incredible, but hey, you know, there's a strategy to it, and you can't say it's a bad one because, hey, it works for him, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not a bad strategy call at all to start basically almost dead last to every, or if not dead last to every single race. And why I'm saying that is because, well, with these big types of fields, you know that there's going to be some early cautions closer to the back of the field, which will give you an opportunity to, well, play out your strategy as long as, of course, you miss those early wrecks that might happen in the back or even the front of the field. So then you gain a couple of positions there. If you're able to pit, you'll probably maybe gain 1 or 2 positions, if any. And then, of course, run your own race from then on. Have the strategy just work your way, and you're up into, well, 12th place or even 10th. So, yes, a perfect strategy. It's not a bad way to do a series like this, especially if you know that maybe sometimes you just won't have the pace to compete with the top 10.
And right now, looks like a battle for the lead ensuing. Justin Fuller all over the back end of Adam Gilliland. We're closing in on pit stops here. That's pretty interesting to see here. And you can see down into 3 and 4. Do you think Gilliland's going to pit? Well, there you go. There's your answer. He hits the pits. He came in a little bit hot there. What did you think there?
Yeah, he came in just a little hot, but as long as, of course, makes it with no problem in the pit lane, you can come in as fast as you want and be okay. So he did exactly that, but yeah, of course, still a little hot there.
Yeah, you can see great job there by Adam Gilliland. Justin Fuller still has to pit, and he's not coming down yet. You think he's going to try and stretch it?
It's a possibility. He might even come down this next time by, but just kind of wanting, of course, the race lead and seeing what he can do, because you don't want to be that last car, but you don't want to be the first. And so I think right now is a perfect time for him to go down pit lane right after, of course, well, Adam Gilliland came down.
There you can see down into 3 and 4 again. Fuller again elects to stay out. I gotta say, interesting strategy. You think he might be trying to wait out a caution flag?
Very possible now that he did not come down pit lane. As well as, well, Justin Fuller feels like he knows the strategy. We don't. We can only predict that he might come down this lap or maybe 5 laps later, because if a caution flag does not fly. So he's just got to be careful with how long he stays out, because fresh tires compared to these old tires can lose a lot of time with a race lead.
And side by side here, there you go. Justin Fuller getting passed by Randy Yoakum. And look at the difference between fresh tires and old tires. Brian Macklin going for a pass as well.
Exactly, yeah. It's time for Justin Fuller to go down pit lane for sure. It's just, yeah, like we talked about. Fast tires, or newer tires, excuse me, compared to older tires equals for a faster car.
You can see Justin Fuller down pit lane. Finally, that turns the lead over to Clint Cox. So, pretty good run. So, Clint with the lead. When do you think he comes down pit lane? I would imagine quite soon.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty soon as well for Clinton Cox. He probably was, well, one of the... exactly, will be coming down pit lane this time is what it looks like. No, never mind. He was not going too slowly in that corner, but maybe he'll wait. He'll actually be that strategy where he'll wait for a caution.
You can hear him coasting it. I'm about to say, you hear nothing going through the corners. We're right on board with him. Under 20 laps to go now. Listen to him going through the corner here. And you hear it there. He is just... He holds on to it on the clutch through just a pretty long segment of that run.
That makes me think what he's trying to do now is not have to go down pit lane and also put fuel in the car.
I don't think he's going to be able to make it to the end. That's what, 18 laps? That's too long. I don't see any way he's going to make it another 18 laps. You know?
I don't see that as well. He's got a 14-second lead, but go down pit lane soon. He'll try anything for sure, as we know these drivers have done before in their multiple series. Seeing drivers run out of fuel across the line, and just possible if that can happen.
And right now, just watching these guys rocket around the speedway. 16 to go at the stripe. So just not a lot of racing to go. I mean, if Clint's trying to make it to the end, hey, good on him for trying, but I don't see it possible. What about you?
I mean, yeah, I don't really see it that possible, but maybe it will be if he gets a caution. So that's really, I think, what he has to do. Wait for that caution.
Yeah, but see, the problem there, if he gets a caution, is then everyone's going to pit again, and he'll be on kind of level playing ground, you know what I mean?
Exactly, but that's kind of what he's put himself into right now. He already lost 3 seconds, or close to 3 seconds from his race lead. Look who's in second place right here.
And there's your caution flag. And what brought it out this time? Looked like slow driver might have been Brandon Key. No, maybe EJ. Well, no, not EJ O'Rourke, but Glenn Campbell. Looks like Glenn Campbell, a little self-spin. No, Randy Yoakum got into Glenn Campbell there. Hard crash. So there you have it. I mean, that shatters Clint Cox's entire strategy, I think.
Oh, it definitely does, but at that same time, what else was his strategy besides trying to stay out? So maybe he wanted to do that. Look, he's going to be the first driver down pit lane, and he's also going to be, well, he'll have an opportunity to be the first driver out the pit lane too. So it's a possibility that he will need that restart car.
So, what do you do if you're Clint here? I mean, obviously you got to pit, but do you think everyone's going to follow him down? Looks like a lot of drivers do, luckily for him.
Exactly. Need those tires for sure at this racetrack. Yes, of course, those drivers are on different strategies now, back on that even strategy, but with only a handful of laps to go, get yourself an opportunity. 4 tires, and that's about it.
So, pretty interesting there.
Like he'll be second place at least.
So you can see your current race leader, Justin Fuller. Clint Cox comes out third. Do you think that put him on a potential winning strategy? I'm going to have to say no on that one.
I'm going to disagree and say yes. There's a good chance that it did exactly that. He is in 11th position, but he'll make up a lot of ground with these fresh tires. And remember, I don't think he took fuel. So he could be on a lighter fuel load. If anything, he took a lot less fuel than the rest of these drivers because of him saving.
Well, we'll see how it all plays out here. So right now, Justin Fuller, your race leader. With Justin Fuller leading this race, he's led about 50 laps of the race. So almost half the race. What do you think's going through his mind right now? Do you think he's nervous? He's got Daniel Falkingham right behind him. I mean, you know, what do you think's going through his mind? If I was him, I'd just be looking dead ahead and not even looking in my mirror. Because if I'm looking in my mirror, I'm psyching myself out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, you cannot be looking in your mirror. You have to run your own race. If he will be right, we know he'll be right beside you. So no matter what, you just have to focus on your own race, and we'll make sure that maybe you come home in first place in the end. A very good opportunity for them to do it, but you cannot psych yourself out in the slightest.
And the problem there is it's a very easy thing to do, is getting yourself psyched out. Here we go, 10 laps to go right now. And we'll have 8 at the stripe, or 9 at the stripe when we go green. One thing of note, Josh Bonwell, who I actually don't see up in the top 10, but I know he hasn't wrecked out of this thing yet, so Bonwell right there, 17th place, looking for a good run here tonight. Well, I'll let you get what might very well be our final restart of the evening.
Sounds great. Moments away from the green flag, coming back out onto the racetrack. It looks like Justin Fuller will lead us to the green with Falkenham on his inside, so that's going to be an interesting restart as the pace car does pull down. And we are back racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for maybe the final time.
I don't think it will be the final time. I saw the way Gilliland stepped out.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that too. That's why I said maybe, but that's exactly what you need to do. You have to block even if you do spin your tires.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting to see the way Adam Gilliland there stepped out 8 laps to go at the stripe. And there you go. Daniel Falkingham's in it. Tommy Ryan's in it. Ryan Howard. Here's the replay. Looks like Clint Cox maybe made contact with Daniel there. And as the saying goes, off to the races. What can Brown do for you? The 09 Doy Woods involved. Randy Yoakum got a piece of it, so pretty big incident, pretty big mess. We'll be right back for what should be the final restart. As we are back live for what should be the final restart with only 4 laps to go? Do you think it will be?
Very possible that it could be the final restart indeed. But, yeah, I think it actually will be. I think they can go the 4 more laps or close to 5 more laps that it is for this race.
We'll see what happens here. Pace car getting ready to hop down. Here we go. Pace car down. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. And this is the final restart potentially of the evening if they stay green. They got to do this for 4 laps now. And that's the big thing.
Look at Adam Gillen kind of giving a push to Trey there as they're trying to catch none other than the 51 of Justin Fuller, who has looked fantastic all night long, or all day long, however you want to say it, because of, well, just he has led the most laps of tonight.
Yeah, right now, pretty good racing all around. And it looks like Justin Fuller got the lead back. 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go, he got the lead back, but maybe not for long, as Edson was trying to look for a pass. They will be side by side heading into turns 3 and 4, but maybe not for long as he got out of the groove. It could be 3 wide.
It's gonna be 3 wide. Do they get to the line without wrecking? Yes, they do. Final lap of the race now. They'll race it out no matter what happens.
So what happened to Adam
They could
Gillen
all
there
wreck.
is he hit that white line. That's why he's going to move back.
And they will
might
wreck EJ O'Rourke. Jose Gonzalez has gone around. Trey Edison might win this race. Trey Edison will win this race. Off of turn 4, he'll do it. Justin Fuller, Clint Cox, Brian Macklin, EJ O'Rourke, Beasley, Kelly, Coleman, Bonwell, Wilco, Schoonover, Cole, Key, Stamper, Runkle, Haring, Ryan, Cretan, Jabu, Yoakum, Falkingham, Howard, Brooks, Woods, Gonzalez, Gillen, Lance, Bradenberg. The rest of the drivers scrolling across the top of your screen there. And I tell you what, man, what a finish. I'll let you talk to our race winner, Trey Edison. And I don't think either one of us had him pegged as winning this race, but I tell you, he came out in the last minute right when it counted. Take it away, Jacob Young.
Trey Edson, how you doing?
Looks good, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, you shocked everybody with being able to be the clutch racer out there and winning that race. How does this feel?
It's pretty good. It's not expected because I always come into Atlanta just kind of try to stay consistent, save the tires, and I usually come out of here as a top 5. So that's kind of how we were setting up there, and we had late cautions. And Fuller and Adam are their teammates. So Fuller, he worked with us on the restarts, and it's kind of, you're surrounded by your teammates, so it's kind of a comforting feeling, and they're not gonna wreck you. We're gonna race hard, but we're not gonna wreck each other. So I got an unexpected run there off of 2 because I had lifted a little bit for him because I had such a run. I didn't want to run in the back of him. He kind of moved to protect the bottom, and I just went with it, and then it seemed like he either hit a bump down there or just got tight. So I wasn't leaving him a ton of room. So we were either going to make contact or I was going to come out on the good end.
Awesome. So, how's the car feeling throughout the race?
It's fine. I think it's one of iRacing's better setups. I wish it kind of freed up as we went because it's pretty snug out of turn 2. But yeah, I'm still trying to. I don't get to get on here and practice a lot. So really, just kind of pop on here and run the races and kind of hop off. But the new tire and how that thing kind of wears and what you need to do to start a run, I'm still kind of lost on some of that stuff. Like Daniel and like Falkingham and Josh Parker, them guys, they're amazing on the long runs. Adam is as well, as you could tell. He's always been a beast on long runs. So got some stuff to figure out there, but everybody says the Xfinity car's a plow box, so I kind of hopped in here thinking it was going to be twice as bad as it was. So it was good. It was good. I didn't run the series full time last year. My goal was to run full time this year. I love the Xfinity car and was fast at Auto Club, sped on pit road, wrecked at Daytona, and I didn't get to run Phoenix. I don't know whether Vegas. I think I finished 5th to 10th, somewhere in there. But to get a win this early in the season is awesome, and it's a good points night. I hate to use that term so early, but you kind of got to watch the points with how we go here.
Yeah, exactly. So will this bring confidence to you and going into Homestead?
Homestead, Phoenix. I don't know where we in. If it was Homestead, I'm super confident. That's probably my best track on the service. Phoenix, not so much. So wherever we go, but yeah, it's cool to make the to at least try to make the playoff and start our eliminations and get through all that. I did it. I won the Trunk Championship here last year, and I was in the Final Four in the Cup Series. So I know I can do it. It's just a matter of not ticking other people off and running clean races. So that's kind of what I try to show up here and do.
Yeah, I mean, I meant for next week. Next week is Atlanta. Yeah, Phoenix is that final race next week. Hopefully, yeah, we can talk to you in Victory Lane once again. Any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, I don't really have a sponsor for this car, but I run Kick-Ass Beef Jerky because he covers my truck, and they do a great job. It's kickassbeefjerky.com. Just kind of as a favor, I just kind of run it in more than one series. So Trans Service, Glenn, and those guys, they sponsor my Cup effort. So check them out on Sim500.com and American Sim Network. You guys do a great job. I'll go back and watch this tomorrow and finally get to put together a whole race and not watch me fly on the pit road at going 30 over. So yeah, that'll be fun. Appreciate you guys. And like you said, I hope I get to talk to you next week.
Awesome.
All right, next up on the interview block, it is Justin Fuller. He came up second here tonight. Justin, have you got a copy of me?
Yeah, we got you, brother.
Man, I mean, you led a lot of laps here, and I know you're probably open for that win, but, I mean, how does second place feel?
Second place at Atlanta for me feels like a damn win, honestly, because I'm terrible here, so...
you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, no. If the race had gone green a lot more than it did, I probably would have been maybe 8th place at best. One of those tracks that I'm pretty good for the first half of a run, and then I die off in the second half. So, I know we had that one long run when we had green flag pit stops, and I was actually doing a lot better than I thought I would. But yeah, second place here, probably what I would consider my worst speedway track on the service, is pretty good.
All right. Well, I mean, what did you expect coming into this race tonight compared to what you got out of it?
Oh, I mean, I finished 8 positions better than what I was expecting, honestly.
All right. Now, how did the car handle for you for the most part here tonight?
Very tight. Did not turn. It was like it was on the splitter all night. So, hopefully we can get some better turning cars here throughout the season and put on a better race.
All right, well, what do you expect next week in the coming weeks? Do you expect to find that 51 in Victory Lane anytime soon?
Oh, hopefully, we're pretty decent at Homestead. If Trey races, though, that's going to be a problem because he's really good at Homestead. Texas, I'm assuming we're probably going to run the new Texas, so that's going to be a toss-up because I have no idea how I'm going to do there, how Robert's going to do. Richmond, I don't know what's after. Trying to pull up the schedule real quick. I don't know what's after Richmond. After Texas, Bristol. I'm pretty good at Bristol. I like Bristol. That'll be good. Homestead. Well, we go to Texas next, so yeah, I don't know what we're gonna expect next week at Texas, but we got some good tracks coming up at Bristol, Homestead, Dover, Talladega, obviously. Looking forward to the road courses, so we'll get there.
All right. Well, anyone you want to thank, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I absolutely gotta thank Sean Yoder with Nemesis Lab. He supports me in the Cup Series. So I kind of like Trey, you know, Kick-Ass sponsors him in another series. You know, I kind of just run his stuff on here. As a thank you, I want to thank Tim Corners Motorsports as well with Tim Terry. Thank Jeff Ford with Ford Entertainment Group for sponsoring the series. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to race in the series for, you know, it's a free series. So if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to do this. Thank all the admins of Sim500 for putting this on. Everybody that watched the race tonight, everybody was in the race tonight. All my teammates at Aftermath Motorsports, Trey Edson with Trey Edson Designs, giving us some really sexy looking hot rods out here. Thank gmercer.com. You know, just everybody that puts this together. You guys put it on the broadcast. I'm sure I'll skim through it tomorrow and have a look at it, see how it was, and yeah, we'll look forward to next week and tomorrow night.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Have a great night, and we'll see you on track next week.
Thanks. Have a good week.
All right, folks. Unfortunately, Clint Cox not available for his third place interview, but he had a great run for third, and probably an amazing strategy. As we saw, Jacob, he ran an amazing strategy to get himself into that third place position.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't really expect it, how long he stayed out, and he got lucky with that caution. Unfortunately, it wasn't for a win, but just absolutely a fantastic strategy call. He knew what he was doing from the start of that one, and it all fell into place for him. Top three, just like we said. It's big for points. You want a good start to your season to kind of build up that points lead to make sure that you can kind of keep that top 16 basically throughout that season. So it's going to be good for him, and he knows that he feels confident throughout probably other races too. So it'll be fun to watch him.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone who watched this here tonight. We hope everyone enjoyed. We'll see y'all next time here on ASN.